Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Lost in the cracks of the landslide. You saw me slipping on my blind side. I'm feeling lost, feeling tongue-tied.
Are we rolling, Justin?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I asked that the other day, and I thought we were, and we weren't. And a great lesson, just womp womp, went into the sewage of the annals of history. Like, okay.
Or it
No, it didn't get recorded.
But it changed the people's lives in the room.
Sorry, you're right. See? Oh, this is a perfect segue. Because, okay, you know, rumor is out. So after many years, of you know, threatening that I would do it, I finally joined Tinder. Yes. And actually, as a PS, I keep getting lots of weird connections to Kyle David Pierce. I swear to God. I swear to God, I will tell you more about that later. Common connections that has your name in a box at the bottom. It's still that's a whole other story. But one thing I do find interesting about Tinder that I was telling Robin, so when I joined last week, I'm a newbie, so I joined last week, and I don't know why I would have assumed that the algorithm would have detected that I'm gay, because I don't know why, but I just assumed it would, so I didn't do any of the settings. So when I first then finally went back to see who was swiping me, I was very popular with the ladies, so I realized I still got it with the ladies. And then, like, obviously then I panicked. I did not know what to do. So then I reset it. But I also had something the other day. I had an alert, because I guess I've been swiping left so many times. I got an alert that said there's no new people around you, and then I had to choose a new location. I swear to God, I got that. And this was so this is the point about, what is the point? I mean, ultimately, I'm using Tinder as a social experiment, but I do find this very, very interesting, because here's the thing, you guys, here's the thing. Listen, God bless people who have met their future husbands and wives on Tinder. So I'm sure, like any kind of dating app, I'm sure it's a great device for people to get connected. Although I struggle with the whole thing of how an algorithm, how, you know, search engine optimization does not factor in the thing that we're all going to those things for in the first place, which is what? Connection. Connection is not through an 8x10 photograph or a pixelated photograph of a person that you're attracted to. Sure, the chemical attraction can be a part of connection, but how many times I had one date already, and it was, nobody is as they appear. That's the interesting sort of, I think, X factor that isn't being figured out through technology. That we're all yearning to connect. So all these things are great. But that aspect of why we're wanting to connect in the first place isn't in the mix. And so you can read about somebody in 500 words or less, or see a really great picture of them and feel like it's a match. Swipe right. And yet then when you meet in person, okay, I mean, like I said, as a social experiment, that's what I'm engaging in, because I haven't been out in the dating world in a while. So I'm just like, what is that all about? But I do find that it's so interesting to me, the time that we're living in, the reasons for doing it are correct, but the end result I don't think can ever be fulfilled, because the thing that we're really looking for in the phones are never going to be fulfilled that way. And then I had a really interesting experiment that validated that. I was babysitting my 6-year-old niece this weekend. We had so much fun. I always have so much fun with her. It's just like wild ride, Mr. Toad's wild ride. And at one point we were in the backyard and she was like on this like makeshift swing on the tree. And she was like, Uncle Tony, watch me. And I think at that time I was getting alerts on my phone saying, you got a new match. So I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I'm watching you live. And she said, without missing a beat, with your eyes. With your eyes, she told me to watch her. Look, I'm going to totally start crying. It's really sad. A 6-year-old is already present enough to know when adults aren't present with them. And then I was just like, oh, I'm watching you. And I wasn't. And then I was like, Liv, what do you mean with your eyes? And I was like, to mommy and daddy, and listen, my brother and my soon-to-be sister-in-law, they're amazing parents, right? They are. But I think it was interesting because I said to her, I was like, do mommy and daddy not watch you? And she's like, no, sometimes they just watch me from the back of their head. And she like that. So interesting. Listen, everybody's busy. I understand it. You can't be a helicopter parent and hover over and watch your child 24/7. I'm not saying that. I'm using this as a conversation to again think about look at how from a child's perspective, they already pick up that we're not really with them. And so then that begs this question about, in your own life, how are you not yet, how many more apps and sites and technology keeps us driving to thinking that the things are there when they're not? I'm working on a tweet book because it's ironic because I really do love tweeting because I like to post inspirational stuff. But something that I had come across when I heard this interview with Jack Dorsey, who is the founder of Twitter, he said this. He says, he was asked about what he feels like he could do better in life with. And he says that he feels he most easily communicates through letters and texts. And then he says, do I feel like I'm an expert in having a normal conversation face to face? Absolutely not. And then he goes on to say, that's not my natural state. Then it sort of becomes this, I think, a very interesting conundrum of, is it not one's natural state? Because we become so tech-driven that then we lose our connection to what it really means to actually feel through somebody, feel with somebody, look somebody in the eyes, stand in line at the bank and actually smile at someone instead of just pretending to be on the phone looking at nonsense. So again, it comes back to how do we try to policy ourselves so you get the information that you need, but you don't use it to distract from, to me, the experience of why we're here on the planet. So it's not really a lesson. I mean, it's funny, and I'm sure I will do a more, maybe it is. And I think I have to be reminded of as well, because it's like a new toy. Tinder is like a new toy until it's not anymore. And then something new will come along. And yet, is it what's right in front of us enough? Can it be? So that's what we have to try to work with more. And that's a lot of what we talked about last night in the work. And obviously, the connection is always with someone, through someone, to someone.